Jacob's story begins long before he ever set foot on the path that would define his life. Born as one of twins to Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob entered the world after a struggle in the womb, foreshadowing a life filled with challenge and destiny. Even before their birth, God revealed a surprising truth to Rebekah: the older will serve the younger. This prophecy flipped the natural order of expectation on its head, setting the stage for rivalry, ambition, and divine purpose. Esau, the firstborn, was strong, rugged, and a skilled hunter, admired by his father for his adventurous spirit. Jacob, on the other hand, was quieter, more thoughtful, and stayed close to home, forming a bond with his mother. From the very beginning, Jacob's story reminds us that life does not always follow our assumptions or social norms. It teaches that destiny can arrive in unexpected ways, and that God's plans often unfold through surprising channels. Even in his youth, Jacob displayed cleverness and determination, qualities that would both help and challenge him throughout his life. One of the first major turning points came when Jacob took advantage of Esau's hunger and impulsive nature to acquire the birthright, the special privileges meant for the firstborn. This act, seemingly simple at first, was laden with meaning, showing Jacob's ability to act decisively and strategically. But Jacob's path was not without controversy or consequence. Encouraged by his mother, he later deceived his father Isaac to receive the blessing intended for Esau. This moment was pivotal, marking a blend of human cunning and divine providence. While it created tension and prompted a flight from home to escape Esau's anger, it also launched Jacob on a transformative journey that would define his character and faith. His story teaches us that life is rarely straightforward. Choices can carry both immediate risks and long-term rewards. Jacob's journey also highlights the power of guidance, support, and resilience. His mother's encouragement, while morally complex, propelled him toward fulfilling the prophecy. Likewise, God's unseen hand guided him through challenges, teaching that even in moments of doubt or conflict, there is a larger plan at work. From these early events, Jacob's life becomes a powerful example of courage, determination, and trust in divine timing. This is just the beginning of Jacob's extraordinary journey, a story of ambition, family, faith, and destiny that continues to resonate today. If you enjoy diving into stories filled with wisdom, history, and life lessons, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode exploring fascinating stories like Jacob's. Your support helps us bring more inspiring and thought-provoking content straight to you. Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Jacob's adventures continue, shaping him into the remarkable figure we remember today. As Jacob grew older, the complexities of his family life began to shape him in ways that would define his character and destiny. Living under the shadow of Esau's boldness and his father Isaac's favor, Jacob learned early that survival and success required more than just patience. It demanded strategy, cunning, and an awareness of opportunity. Despite the warmth and closeness he shared with his mother, Rebekah, Jacob could not escape the tension that simmered beneath the surface of his household, where rivalry and expectations constantly intersected. The tension between him and Esau was never just sibling rivalry. It was a collision of personalities, values, and destinies, a tangible reminder that prophecy and human ambition often intertwine in unexpected ways. One day, in a moment that would resonate throughout the generations, Jacob saw the chance to secure what had been promised to the firstborn. Esau returned from the fields exhausted and famished, while Jacob was preparing a simple, hearty stew. Recognizing his brother's weakness and impulsiveness, Jacob offered the meal in exchange for Esau's birthright. This exchange, seemingly straightforward, revealed the depth of Jacob's foresight and the subtle interplay between human decision and divine orchestration. What could have been seen merely as opportunism was in fact a decisive act that aligned with the prophecy revealed to Rebekah years earlier. Jacob understood that life's outcomes often hinge on timing, preparation, and the courage to act when the moment arrives, even if it requires risk and audacity. Yet the story of Jacob is not merely one of cleverness or ambition. It is a tale woven with tension, consequence, and the delicate balance between human action and destiny. The securing of the birthright was only the beginning. As Isaac aged and prepared to bestow his final blessing, Jacob faced an even greater challenge. The blessing, reserved for the firstborn, carried profound spiritual and familial significance. Yet Rebekah guided Jacob to assume the role meant for Esau. Through careful planning and the use of disguise, Jacob approached his father, and the blessing was granted. In that moment, Jacob's actions embodied a mixture of human initiative and divine design, illustrating the complex ways in which faith, destiny, and personal choice intersect. The aftermath was immediate and turbulent. Esau's wrath forced Jacob to flee from the home he had known all his life, leaving behind the security of family and the comfort of familiarity. This flight marked the beginning of a transformative journey across unfamiliar lands, where Jacob would face solitude, adversity, and encounters that would test both his resolve and his faith. It was a period of exile that demanded resilience, creativity, and an unwavering sense of purpose, all of which Jacob drew from the experiences of his youth and the lessons embedded within his family's story. As he journeyed, the boundaries of his world expanded, and the challenges he encountered became opportunities for growth, shaping him into a man capable of navigating the intricate interplay of human ambition and divine guidance. Jacob's time away from home was also a period of profound learning and personal evolution. He encountered strangers who would become pivotal in his life, faced laborious work that honed his patience and endurance, and wrestled with questions of morality, identity, and the meaning of blessing. Each obstacle, each interaction, and each decision reflected the lessons seeded in his early years, the understanding that life is rarely linear, that success often comes through persistence and discernment, and that the consequences of choices ripple far beyond the immediate moment. Through these experiences, Jacob's story became not just a chronicle of cleverness or inheritance, but a narrative of growth, resilience, and transformation, demonstrating that true leadership and purpose are forged through challenge and reflection. Even as Jacob confronted hardship, the unseen hand of guidance seemed ever present, steering him through encounters both ordinary and extraordinary. Dreams and visions punctuated his journey, offering glimpses of divine favor and future promise. These moments reinforced the lesson that destiny is rarely a single event but a series of interconnected experiences, each building upon the last, each testing faith and resolve. The tension between human initiative and divine orchestration became the defining theme of Jacob's life, teaching that while strategy and intelligence are essential, the ultimate unfolding of purpose often exceeds the limits of personal planning. Jacob's evolution also deepened his understanding of relationships, trust, and reconciliation. He encountered rivalries that mirrored his early conflicts with Esau. Yet these later experiences carried lessons in humility, empathy, and the enduring impact of choices. As he navigated new alliances and complex family dynamics, Jacob began to recognize that his early life, marked by competition, prophecy, and cunning, had prepared him for the intricate responsibilities and moral considerations that adulthood demanded. The journey was not just a passage across land, but a journey inward, revealing the strengths, vulnerabilities, and spiritual depth required to fulfill the path laid before him. Through all of these experiences, Jacob's story intertwines human ambition with divine purpose. illustrating that the shaping of character is a process both challenging and illuminating. His life becomes a mirror of the delicate balance between seizing opportunity and honoring destiny, between human cleverness and the guidance of something greater. Each chapter, from the struggle in the womb to the securing of the birthright, from deception and flight to resilience in exile, contributes to a rich tapestry of growth, insight, and transformation, making Jacob's journey a timeless example of how determination, faith, and personal evolution can converge to shape a life of enduring significance. Jacob's journey continued to unfold across the vast and unfamiliar landscapes, a journey not only of distance but of profound self-discovery and the slow, deliberate shaping of his destiny. Having left behind the home of his youth and the turbulent dynamics of his family, he entered a world that demanded both patience and cunning, yet also offered opportunities for growth that could not have been encountered within the familiar walls of his early life. The hardships he faced were more than physical. They tested his sense of integrity, his understanding of relationships, and the very depth of his character. In each new encounter, Jacob found lessons that seemed carefully designed to illuminate the intricacies of human ambition, divine providence, and the delicate balance between the two. He met people whose kindness and deceit alike revealed the spectrum of human nature, each interaction carving new dimensions into his understanding of trust, loyalty, and moral responsibility. During his time in exile, Jacob arrived at the household of Laban, a distant relative whose home promised both shelter and opportunity, yet whose character demanded vigilance and discernment. The arrangements he made there, initially simple and pragmatic, quickly grew into a complex web of agreements and negotiations, reflecting both his growing skill in strategy and his increasing awareness of human ambition. As he labored, he not only cultivated flocks and wealth but also honed patience, observation, and the ability to read the motives of those around him. Laban's cunning and the competitive nature of his household presented challenges that mirrored Jacob's early experiences with Esau. Yet in this new context, the stakes were more intricate, requiring subtlety, foresight, and endurance. Each day became a lesson in resilience, each negotiation opportunity to refine judgment, and each setback a reminder that success is rarely immediate but the result of sustained effort and insight. Amid these trials, Jacob's inner life deepened, and his awareness of divine guidance became more pronounced. Dreams and visions, which had punctuated his earlier journey, now took on richer significance, offering guidance and reassurance in moments of uncertainty. In one memorable vision, he saw a ladder reaching toward the heavens, with angels ascending and descending, a powerful symbol that the challenges of his path were interwoven with a larger plan that transcended human understanding. This revelation did not diminish the necessity of human action. Rather, it framed it within a context of purpose, teaching that ambition and effort, when aligned with integrity and faith, could participate in the shaping of destiny. The blending of practical strategy with spiritual insight became a defining feature of Jacob's character, allowing him to navigate the complexities of family, labor, and leadership with an increasing sense of clarity and vision. Jacob's relationships within Laban's household were fraught with trials that tested both patience and morality. His love for Rachel, counterbalanced by the unexpected marriage to Leah, introduced him to the tangled interplay of desire, obligation, and the social dynamics of family. He learned to negotiate not only the tangible aspects of wealth and labor, but also the subtler currents of emotion, expectation, and loyalty. These experiences forced him to confront the consequences of choices made in both haste and necessity, echoing the lessons of his youth when opportunity and cunning had secured the birthright and blessing. In this extended period, Jacob's understanding of commitment, responsibility, and compromise grew deeper, illustrating that true wisdom is cultivated not in comfort, but through the persistent engagement with challenge, complexity, and the moral ambiguities of life. As years passed, Jacob became a figure of increasing authority, both respected and circumspect, whose intelligence and foresight enabled him to thrive while maintaining ethical boundaries in a world often dominated by self-interest. His strategies for managing livestock and resources were marked not only by shrewdness, but by a sense of fairness and prudence that earned him loyalty and reinforced his reputation. Yet even in success, the undercurrents of tension and rivalry remained. A reminder that life's journey is rarely linear and that personal growth is inseparable from the trials and interactions that test one's character. Jacob's capacity to balance ambition with integrity, foresight with patience, and desire with moral consideration became a hallmark of his evolving identity, demonstrating the complex interplay of human effort, relational dynamics, and the unfolding of destiny. Throughout this period, Jacob's spiritual awareness continued to deepen, with each vision and dream reinforcing the notion that his journey was part of a broader narrative, one that intertwined personal action with a greater purpose. He came to recognize that leadership, influence, and legacy were not merely products of inheritance or opportunity, but the result of deliberate, principled effort over time. The trials he endured shaped his empathy, sharpened his discernment, and revealed the interconnectedness of human ambition and divine guidance. His growth was not only strategic but profoundly moral, a testament to the way experience, reflection, and perseverance converge to create wisdom that transcends circumstance. By the time Jacob prepared to leave Laban's household, he was not the same person who had fled his father's home. The journey had transformed him from a young man guided by cunning and immediate opportunity into a mature figure who understood the weight of responsibility, the subtlety of human relationships, and the necessity of aligning action with purpose. He carried with him the lessons of his youth, the trials of exile, and the insight gained from dreams and reflection, preparing to face the challenges that awaited in the broader world. Jacob's story, in this stage, exemplifies the profound interplay between personal initiative, relational complexity, and the unseen currents that guide life's path, revealing that true growth emerges through struggle, contemplation, and the courage to act with both intelligence and integrity. Through this journey, Jacob's narrative becomes not just a record of inheritance or labor, but a story of transformation, resilience, and insight, illustrating that life's most significant lessons are learned in the crucible of experience, where effort, faith, and understanding converge to shape a legacy that endures across generations. Jacob's return from Laban's household marked not merely a physical journey, but a profound turning point in his life, where experience, reflection, and foresight merged to shape the man he had become. The road back to his homeland was lined with memories of the trials he had endured and the lessons he had learned, each step a reminder of the delicate balance between patience and action, ambition and integrity. The wealth he carried, flocks, herds, and the results of years of careful management was tangible proof of his perseverance. Yet the true transformation lay in the wisdom he had gained, the understanding of human nature, and the confidence in navigating both moral and practical complexities. Every interaction with servants, relatives, and strangers along the way became an extension of the experiences that had honed his insight, revealing how knowledge and skill, when tempered by humility and discernment, could influence outcomes far beyond immediate perception. As he approached the lands of his youth, Jacob could not help but reflect on the family he had left behind, especially the tensions that had marked his early years with Esau. Memories of rivalry, fear, and the uncertain consequences of his youthful choices loomed large, but they now intersected with the clarity and prudence he had cultivated over years of navigating Laban's schemes and laboring under conditions that demanded both shrewdness and patience. Jacob understood that the encounter ahead would require more than courage. It would demand strategy, empathy, and the ability to anticipate reactions shaped by years of emotion, pride, and expectation. He spent nights in quiet reflection, contemplating the path of reconciliation and the subtle ways in which he could demonstrate both respect and firmness, aware that the bonds of family, strained as they were, could be restored not by force but through insight, timing, and understanding. In the process of preparing for this reunion, Jacob's leadership and decisiveness became evident as he organized his household, instructed his servants, and arranged the flocks in a manner that reflected not only efficiency but strategic foresight. Each decision mirrored the lessons learned in Laban's household: the importance of observation, the need to balance ambition with fairness, and the power of calculated patience. The practical elements of the journey: managing resources, ensuring safety, and maintaining morale were inseparable from the emotional and relational dynamics at play. Jacob's ability to navigate these intertwined spheres illustrated how experience and reflection transform raw talent into wisdom, and how the challenges of exile and labor had equipped him to face complex human situations with discernment and confidence. The night before meeting Esau, Jacob wrestled with memories and fears, drawing on a spiritual depth that had grown alongside his practical abilities. Alone in contemplation, he wrestled not only with the uncertainty of the encounter but with the profound questions of destiny, morality, and the nature of reconciliation. This internal struggle, intense and unrelenting, became a crucible for his evolving identity, a moment in which past experiences, present awareness, and future aspirations converged. Jacob emerged from this period with a renewed sense of purpose, an understanding that true strength lay in the integration of action and reflection, courage and humility, and that the path to resolution and enduring legacy required both strategic planning and ethical commitment. The encounter with Esau, when it came, was layered with tension, anticipation, and the possibility of both reconciliation and continued conflict. Jacob's preparation material, strategic and spiritual, allowed him to approach the meeting with composure, insight, and a sense of moral equilibrium. He recognized the humanity in Esau's response, the impact of time, and the influence of shared history, understanding that reconciliation required acknowledgement of past wounds, the demonstration of goodwill, and the careful negotiation of pride and expectation. Through this encounter, Jacob exemplified the synthesis of experience and insight, illustrating that the trials of youth, the lessons of labor, and the guidance of vision can converge to produce not only success but ethical and relational maturity. In the aftermath of this reunion, Jacob's attention turned to the broader implications of his life's journey, the responsibilities toward his family, the legacy he would leave, and the communities that depended on his guidance. The accumulation of wealth, while significant, was understood as a tool for stewardship rather than mere possession, reflecting a philosophy honed through years of navigating moral and practical challenges. Jacob's story now extended beyond personal survival and family dynamics, encompassing the ethical and relational responsibilities of leadership, the careful management of resources, and the cultivation of trust and integrity across generations. Each step, each decision, became part of a larger narrative in which the interplay of effort, insight, and moral consideration shaped outcomes that resonated far beyond immediate circumstances. Jacob's journey, culminating in this phase of return and reconciliation, reveals the profound ways in which experience, reflection, and moral discernment interact to shape character and legacy. The hardships he endured, the lessons he learned in exile, and the strategic as well as ethical insights he developed allowed him not only to survive, but to thrive in ways that were deeply principled and visionary. His story illustrates that life's most enduring growth arises from the integration of challenge, reflection, and action. Where intelligence, patience, and integrity converge to create a legacy that honors both personal ambition and the wider ethical responsibilities of human endeavor. Through this journey, Jacob emerges as a figure whose resilience, wisdom, and insight continue to inspire, demonstrating the transformative power of experience guided by reflection, ethical awareness, and purposeful action. The weeks following Jacob's reconciliation with Esau unfolded as a period of profound adjustment and renewed purpose, in which the lessons of past struggles interwove with the responsibilities of leadership and the subtle complexities of family life. Jacob's household, now expanded and enriched by both material wealth and experience, became a microcosm of his journey, reflecting the careful balance between guidance, discipline, and compassion that he had learned through years of challenge. Each day presented its own combination of practical and relational demands, overseeing the flocks and herds, ensuring the safety and cohesion of his family, and cultivating an environment in which wisdom and virtue could flourish alongside prosperity. These responsibilities, though rooted in ordinary routines, were imbued with significance, as Jacob recognized that the legacy of his decisions would extend far beyond the immediate comfort of his household, shaping the character, values, and destinies of those who depended on him. Among the most pressing concerns was the integration of his growing family with the broader networks of kinship and community that had been strained by previous rivalries and misunderstandings. Jacob's relationship with Esau, now marked by cautious trust and mutual respect, served as a model for navigating the broader web of alliances and tensions that defined his world. He understood that reconciliation required constant attention, deliberate communication, and the willingness to act with empathy even when self-interest might have suggested otherwise. Through careful observation and subtle guidance, Jacob fostered a sense of interdependence within his household, encouraging collaboration, dialogue, and the recognition of shared responsibility, while also allowing space for individuality and personal growth. The practical management of resources, distributing flocks, monitoring growth, and planning for future seasons became intertwined with these relational dynamics, illustrating that stewardship and leadership were inseparable from moral insight and human understanding. Jacob also remained acutely aware of the spiritual dimensions of his journey, perceiving that the tangible successes of wealth and family cohesion were only meaningful when aligned with a deeper ethical and spiritual framework. He encouraged reflection, storytelling, and the transmission of lessons learned from both triumphs and hardships, fostering a culture in which the younger generation could draw guidance not merely from instruction, but from the lived experiences of those who had endured and observed. These teachings, though grounded in the particulars of Jacob's life, carried universal resonance, emphasizing resilience, discernment, and the importance of navigating both opportunities and adversities with integrity. The household became a living narrative of survival, growth, and ethical practice, demonstrating how the convergence of effort, insight, and moral consideration could shape not only immediate outcomes but long-term character and societal influence. The journey of managing such a household was far from linear. Tensions occasionally surfaced, testing Jacob's patience, judgment, and strategic insight, conflicting ambitions among family members, disagreements over resource allocation, and the echoes of past fears required him to employ both wisdom and tact, balancing firmness with understanding, and ensuring that discipline never undermined trust or compassion. Each challenge offered the opportunity to reinforce principles learned through prior experiences. the importance of foresight, the value of listening, and the necessity of acting in ways that harmonized ethical integrity with practical necessity. Jacob's responses to these moments revealed the maturation of a leader who had once been vulnerable and reactive, now tempered by reflection, informed by experience, and guided by a vision that extended beyond immediate convenience or comfort. Alongside these domestic responsibilities, Jacob remained mindful of the broader social and political landscape, recognizing that his household did not exist in isolation. Relationships with neighbors, trade partners, and distant kin required careful cultivation, negotiation, and occasional diplomacy, particularly in a world where misunderstandings could escalate quickly and where influence depended as much on reputation and trust as on material wealth. Jacob drew upon the lessons learned under Laban's guidance, not merely in technical matters of livestock and property management, but in the subtler arts of perception, negotiation, and human psychology. He understood that ethical conduct and strategic prudence were not contradictory but complementary, each reinforcing the other in building durable relationships and sustaining both family cohesion and social respect. As the years progressed, Jacob's household became a testament to the integration of experience, reflection, and action. The younger generation witnessed firsthand how perseverance through adversity, tempered by ethical judgment and practical skill, could yield outcomes that were not only materially prosperous but also morally grounded and relationally stable. Jacob's storytelling, his engagement in day-to-day activities, and his careful mentoring shaped not only the immediate household, but also the culture and ethos that would influence future generations. His life, a tapestry woven from triumphs and trials, reconciliations and challenges, illustrated that leadership, family, and personal development were intertwined, each element drawing strength and meaning from the others. In this chapter of his life, Jacob exemplified the profound capacity for growth and transformation that emerges when human experience is met with reflection, intentionality, and ethical awareness. His story, while deeply personal, resonates as a model of how challenges both external and internal can serve as catalysts for wisdom, resilience, and the thoughtful exercise of responsibility. Jacob's journey affirms that true legacy arises not solely from material accumulation or fleeting victories but from the careful cultivation of character, the thoughtful management of relationships, and the consistent alignment of action with principle, demonstrating that the integration of insight, empathy, and strategic foresight can create a life of enduring impact and meaning. As we reach the closing chapter of Jacob's extraordinary journey, the threads of his life, once tangled with uncertainty, rivalry, and relentless challenge, have now woven into a tapestry of resilience, wisdom, and enduring legacy. The trials he faced, from navigating complex family dynamics to reconciling with old adversaries and learning the art of patience and prudence, have not only shaped his character but have also defined the very foundation of the household he nurtured with care. Intentionality. Each decision, whether guided by instinct, divine insight, or hard-earned experience, contributed to a life that was rich not only in material blessings but in lessons that will echo across generations. The growth of his family, both in number and in spirit, reflects the quiet yet profound influence of a leader who understood that true strength lies not merely in authority, but in empathy, fairness, and the ability to inspire trust and cooperation. Looking back, the narrative of Jacob's life is one marked by transformation. From a young man who once relied on cunning and strategy to navigate immediate challenges, he evolved into a figure of integrity and guidance, embodying the virtues of foresight, moral discernment, and compassion. His experiences with loss, fear, and confrontation taught him the value of reconciliation, illustrating that relationships, when nurtured with patience and understanding, can heal and flourish even after the deepest fractures. This realization became the heartbeat of his family life, guiding interactions, shaping expectations, and fostering an environment where mutual respect and cooperation could thrive. In doing, Jacob exemplified that leadership is not a position, but a responsibility, a commitment to uplift, protect, and cultivate those entrusted to one's care. As the family grew, the younger generations absorbed lessons not through lectures alone, but through the living example of Jacob's choices, his responses to adversity, and the integrity with which he navigated the complexities of life. Every challenge, whether external pressures or internal disagreements, became an opportunity for education and moral reflection. The household was not simply a place of residence but a dynamic arena for cultivating resilience, character, and discernment. Jacob's guidance ensured that each family member learned the delicate balance between independence and interdependence, ambition and humility, and personal desire and collective responsibility. The values instilled through his example: patience, diligence, integrity, and empathy formed the invisible scaffolding of a household prepared to face the world with confidence. Compassion and wisdom. Beyond the confines of his family, Jacob's influence extended into the broader social landscape. His careful stewardship of relationships with neighbors, allies, and distant kin underscored the importance of trust, reputation, and strategic diplomacy. Through attentive management and ethical consistency, he demonstrated that prosperity and security are deeply intertwined with credibility and moral conduct, reinforcing that true leadership encompasses not only one's immediate circle but also the wider community. In these interactions, the lessons of humility, accountability, and foresight shone brightly, reminding all who observed that long-term stability and harmony are cultivated through patience, thoughtfulness, and respect for the principles that sustain human connection. In reflecting on Jacob's journey, we see a life where challenges became catalysts for growth, where reconciliation fostered lasting bonds, and where diligence and moral insight built a foundation capable of supporting both material and spiritual prosperity. His story illustrates that wealth, security, and influence are most meaningful when coupled with ethical purpose and deliberate care for others. The legacy he leaves is not measured merely in the resources he accumulated, but in the character, knowledge, and resilience transmitted to those who follow in his footsteps. It is a testament to the enduring power of a life led with intentionality, reflection, and unwavering commitment to values that transcend immediate circumstances. As we close this chapter, let us carry forward the lessons embedded in Jacob's journey, that life's trials are opportunities to cultivate strength, that reconciliation and understanding are paths to lasting harmony, and that true legacy lies in the positive impact we create in the lives of others. His story reminds us that even amidst uncertainty and complexity, the choices we make with care, courage, and integrity shape not only our own destiny but also the world around us. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through Jacob's remarkable life. And if you have enjoyed exploring this story with us, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next adventure in history and human experience. Your support helps keep stories like this alive and allows us to continue sharing compelling narratives that inspire reflection, learning, and growth. Together, we can continue uncovering the moments, decisions, and experiences that shape extraordinary lives.